Hey everybody, welcome once again to the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and today we're going to talk about SmackDown Live, the go-home show for SummerSlam, August 15th, 2017. Joined as always by Chris Callicutt, and we got a guest today, Michael Jernigan. How's it going, man?
I'm good, Glenn. How you guys doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. So, Chris, I'll kick it to you first. What did you think of SmackDown last night?
I was very confused, man, to be quite honest with you. For a go-home show, I thought the first hour and 20 minutes was pretty dreadful for SmackDown standards. And then it kind of picked up steam toward the end, obviously with the Corbin cash-in or lack thereof. And I wasn't much of a fan of the opening segment either. So what about y'all?
Yeah, Michael, what did you think, man?
Listen, SmackDown's been rough for me the past couple of weeks, but I did enjoy the last match, the main event. These boys tried to hype that main event the best they could. I did enjoy the cash-in. It caught me off guard. I wasn't ready for it when Corbin was standing in the aisleway and looked at his briefcase and was ready to go. It caught me off guard. So at least they ended on kind of an exciting, upbeat note to make up for the first, hour and a half.
Yeah. So we did open last night with Jinder Mahal coming out doing a bit of a celebration, as it were, getting some good heat from the crowd, and then a face-off with Shinsuke Nakamura to hype their match for the WWE Championship on Sunday at SummerSlam. Chris, what'd you think of this in terms of with Jinder? He was getting more of a mixed reaction, felt like, than usual, and Nakamura coming out and having these two guys do a heavy talky promo at the end there.
Well, all right, here's my thing. This, to me, was a very risky segment to have because you have to read the room. And his celebration came off as actually very genuine and babyface-esque, but because he's Indian or Indian-Canadian, whatever you want to call him, he gets the big international heat, or at least that's what Vince wants to happen. But considering the recent events in mine and Michael's part of the country over toward the southeast, there's been a lot of stuff going on, man. And I really thought this was slightly distasteful. Yeah. Did it get a lot of heat? Absolutely. But was it for the right reasons? I don't necessarily think so. I just thought it was kind of risky. It made me, as a viewer in my area of the country, slightly uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, these things always are, right? Not that the WWE has ever been good about showing cultural or geopolitical sensitivity. It felt to me last night, I don't know, it kind of strange because they did this before with Jinder, right? They did the big celebration. And when they did it the first time, I mean, it was so cool that a lot of people weren't even giving it heat. It was
right.
meant to be
I was excited to see all the dancers and the musicians back. I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. They brought this back. It's a nice little callback, but it wasn't getting heat from me because I thought it was a cool spectacle. I mean, it's like a big celebration. It is what it was supposed to be. And even the sweet old lady singing the Indian national anthem, I'm like, how can I hate this? I mean, I don't want to boo a little old lady.
Boys, I love the national anthem singing. To me, that brings back Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik, and it brings back old memories from WWF back in the day. I will boo somebody else's national anthem in a heartbeat and won't care about it. I'm all for it. Boo, boo, boo.
Meanwhile, I'm the type of guy. I'm the type of guy that Jinder starts criticizing America, and I'm like, he has some valid points. We should really look at ourselves and evaluate here. But I thought it was interesting. So with Jinder versus Shinsuke, I mean, okay, so Michael, you don't got a horse in the race. If it's about nationality versus nationality.
That's true. You're right. My allegiance go with Nakamura though, just because I'm a big fan. But listen, if we're talking USA, I'm waiting on John Cena, my man. I'm waiting on John to come back and win that belt.
Yeah, and that's what was interesting about the main event last night is a lot of people thought that Jinder versus Cena, I mean, we thought that was going to be the SummerSlam match. So it was kind of crazy that we got this for the go-home show. So that segment...
This was the order of events, though. This was another kind of silly thing. Cena fought Nakamura for the right to face Mahal. And then, obviously, tonight's was not for the title, but he still ends up facing Mahal before Nakamura. I'm like, so why exactly did we? I mean, I get it. It's not for the title last night. But the order of operations and the thought process behind it, I thought was a little wonky.
it was just strange, especially with the ending, and we'll talk about that. I mean, look, if you're watching this podcast, you watch SmackDown. Baron Corbin, man, what was up with that?
That's our tease. You have to stay until the end of the show to figure it out.
Yeah, but could you imagine last night if you turned off SmackDown towards the end of the main event? You're just like, there's a minute left in the show. What's gonna happen? I'll tune in Sunday on SummerSlam. Yeah, both shows did a very good job of taking it right to the brink of the trademark logo at the end there. So we came out of that opening segment last night. And they were in Providence, Rhode Island, by the way. So, I mean, it's, I don't know, interesting idea that, because I mean, the WWE is shameless sometimes about depending on where they are in the country, but I don't know that Providence, Rhode Island is necessarily like the cheap heat, capital for other nationalities. Maybe it is, who knows, but you think it would be more, probably they're booing Jinder more because he's Canadian and those guys are coming over the border from the north and stealing their jobs.
Them jokers, they don't even know that he's Indian, man. Yeah. Rhode Island people, they don't even know that he's from India. They got no clue.
There's another Canadian coming over here for the weak exchange rate. Yeah. Oh man, something else. Okay, so we went from that. Teased a lot of stuff that was going to happen last night. A lot of stuff setting things up. They had an update on Ric Flair's condition last night. So Chris, what's the latest on that?
Honestly, not a huge update as of this morning. Still resting comfortably, but in critical condition after his surgery a couple of days ago. I know us, me and Jernigan being Carolina boys, we are close to Flair country, and we wish him the best. I think Charlotte was, I'm not sure if she's still out on her media tour in China or if she's back with the family at this point, but I know she was overseas over in China for a lot of this transpiring. So it's kind of a tough family situation there. But as always, we at Wrestling Inc. send our thoughts and prayers over to the Flair family. And as always, keep an eye on the website as updates become available. You'll be the first to hear them.
Yeah. No. Hope he has a speedy recovery, and hope he gets out of the woods soon with all this. So Natalya versus Becky Lynch last night. I mean, not really a lot to be said about this match. It was solid. We've seen these women against one another many times. I think the key was really in building Natalya up for her championship match against Naomi on Sunday. Michael, where do you think this is all going with this? Do you think we're going to see a Carmella cash in? Do you think Natalya is going to hold that belt momentarily before Carmella cashes in, perhaps? Or what do you think the result's going to be Sunday at SummerSlam?
What I think they're working towards is I see Natalya winning the championship. It's been years since she's had a women's championship, and she's been one of the best workers in the company for years and years. And then I see Carmella coming in, and because of, I don't want to give too much away about the main event last night, but because of that cash in last night, I think Carmella is walking out of SummerSlam as the women's SmackDown champion.
Wouldn't it be funny if it's just an exact replay of last night and it's just backstage Vince being like, screw NXT, I mean, I
wouldn't be surprised, my man. I would not be surprised.
Yeah. What about you, Chris? What do you think's happening? Are you going by Raj's booking algorithm here that because Natalya got the win last night, she's taking the pin on Sunday?
Honestly, I don't think so. Because they wanted to build her up last night, and I know why they did what they did. They wanted to give her a credible win over a good, solid babyface like Becky Lynch, who has the different weapons. They wanted to reestablish the sharpshooter as a potential finish. So if you get Becky to tap to it, then, oh my goodness, is Naomi going to tap to it? That's the mindset they were going for. So I like the setup of the match, even though people thought it was pointless. I thought it actually accomplished a lot there getting ready for Sunday. But with that said, Carmella's going to be walking out the champ one way or the other, because since they failed the cash in last night, there's no reason to hold it off any longer, I don't think. There's not a whole lot of legs left in this storyline, and I really hope Ellsworth has something to do with it.
Oh, Ellsworth's going to be front and center in whatever happens. I mean, has to be, right? And if you look at the WWE, with everything you hear from the former writers saying they're not about storytelling, they're about moments. I think what better moment than a major heel upset at SummerSlam with Carmella cashing in, winning, and having James Ellsworth help her do it. I think that, love it or hate it, most people will probably hate it, but that's a big moment. And I have to give credit, though, last night. And I saw on Twitter a lot of people were saying this, including, I believe, Wrestling Inc. Carmella last night so improved on the mic. I mean, she came out there with confidence and swagger, and she owned it. And that was really, really great to see.
Do you guys think that this is both of these women are just kind of holding places for Charlotte to get the championship back?
Absolutely.
No question.
Oh, yeah. If they're not going to send her back to Raw in the shakeup, if there is one, then that has to be, I think, babyface Charlotte, even though it's out of place a little bit because heel Charlotte's better than babyface Charlotte. I think that sets up nicely for her and Carmella, and I think that Charlotte and Carmella could have a pretty nice match with each other. Yeah,
when's it going to happen, though, man? I mean, Carmella is champ. When's the next SmackDown pay-per-view? I mean, October.
October, yeah, as of right now, until we get some more possible news confirmed for that one in, I believe it's Seattle, but that's still yet to be determined.
The Seattle thing can't be happening, right? There's no way.
I wouldn't think so.
They're going to announce at SummerSlam, by the way, guys, 3 weeks from tonight in Seattle, we're doing a show. Tickets go on sale tomorrow. I mean, that's quick by the WWE standard. I think what's the shortest term they've ever thrown together pay-per-view? I want to say like 5 or 6 weeks.
Usually as far as announcements go, but I mean, we've seen a brand have a pay-per-view right after a big event, 2, 3, 4 weeks. So I wouldn't put it past them to do that, but ticket sales are not exactly going to be jumping.
Yeah. I don't know, man. After that, backstage segment between Tamina and Lana. I still don't know what's going on there.
Tamina's the new Rusev.
Yeah, female Rusev. Whatever. Look, they could do something with it. I felt like last night, it's actually funny that they showed them last night, considering who we didn't see last night, right? No sign of Sami Zayn, no sign of the Canellis, the Canelli. Like, they did the Fashion Files last night, and we'll talk about that in a few moments, but they even teased there that, oh, hey, that's coming back in 2 weeks. They're really clearing the plate, clearing the table for everything that's not SummerSlam.
Right, and on an episode like this, that's exactly what they should do. I mean, they don't really need filler. They need to hammer home the points that they want to get across to prepare for Sunday. There wasn't any need for filler, and with this only being 2 hours, you didn't get like a odd tag team match like you might get on Raw.
I could see Tamina and Lana having something to do with the cash-in also, in addition to Ellsworth. I could see them doing kind of a rejiggered welcoming committee type concept, but with Lana, Tamina, and Carmella and James Ellsworth, maybe costing Natalya and Naomi the championship at the expense of Carmella.
I would like to say, listen, Lana, if you're listening, if it doesn't work out with Tamina, I'm available. You can manage me anytime.
Absolutely.
The Denton Destroyer, by the way.
Yes, yeah. I'm free.
Speaking of backstage segments, though, shades of Talking Smack last night.
Oh, that was great.
With SmackDown General Manager Daniel Bryan and the Usos backstage.
Sweet Beats was in full effect, ladies and gentlemen.
Are we getting a Raw Talk or Talking Smack after Sunday?
Since it's a co-branded pay-per-view, I've not seen one advertised, but I could probably go look it up on the network listing. I'm not sure. That'd be about the only place I would be able to find it, probably.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
I mean, what are they going to do with it, though? I mean, that's a huge card, and that show would have to be an hour and a half long just to get everybody on.
Yeah, it's true. So also in the build last night, Rusev versus Chad Gable. Building further up for Rusev and Randy Orton at SummerSlam. What have you thought of this, Michael, in terms of what they're doing with Gable right now?
I love Chad Gable. I think Chad Gable should have been Kurt Angle's stepson or half-son or whatever. They missed the boat on that one. Chad Gable should be on SummerSlam. It should be Chad Gable and Rusev on SummerSlam, not Randy Orton. Chad Gable is the man. I love the way his promo work. I love his work in the ring. Last night, it was basically a squash match last night just to get Randy Orton in the ring. But I love Chad Gable. I'm a big fan of USA Chad Gable.
The Patriot on the program today, guys, apparently. Anyways, but no, Gable, all right, we see this a lot of times with baby faces that get over organically, right? We see the underdog type of mentality in Gable. Everybody wants to cheer him. So let's let the big super heel that he got close to beating last time completely squash him the next time out, because it's going to get massive heat, but it kind of didn't. But Gable got a nice reaction on his intro last night, which I thought was really nice to see. But the RKO out of nowhere was, good camera work there, which was really good. It was literally out of nowhere to the television viewer.
Those are the best RKOs, when they're literally out of nowhere.
Yep. So nice to see Randy get his trademark. So it's 1-1 in surprise finishers going into SummerSlam. Rusev got the kick last week. Randy got the RKO this week, the rubber match at SummerSlam. So who do you guys have maybe leaning toward on this match?
Rusev versus Orton? Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's no question it's Randy Orton. I mean, he come off 3 pay-per-view losses to Jinder. He did get a win. Was it last week on SmackDown?
A couple weeks ago. Yep.
Yep. And I feel bad for Rusev. I mean, he come back off injury, had to fight John Cena at Battleground in the flag match, lost that. And I don't see Randy Orton losing another pay-per-view match, not 4 in a row.
No.
Yeah. It's a shame Rusev could use a win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Before we continue on talking about SmackDown Live, I want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this episode, which is Diamond Dallas Page and his UK tour and DDP Yoga. So you've heard us talk about it. WWE Hall of Famer Diamond Dallas Page is celebrating his Hall of Fame induction with the DDP UK tour in September. This is going to be an inspirational Q&A and conversation with DDP, and it's happening in Glasgow, Manchester, Birmingham, London. If you saw Dallas's WWE Hall of Fame speech, you know that he can tell some inspiring stories. You're also going to get the opportunity firsthand to experience DDP Yoga at the DDP Yoga Workshops in Harrogate, Glasgow, Newcastle, Manchester, Birmingham, and London. Go to ddpuktour.com to reserve your spot and find out all the details. And if he's not going to be near you anytime soon, then get yourself the DDP Yoga Now app, which is used by the likes of Chris Jericho, AJ Styles, Mick Foley, and tons of other WWE stars who love using DDP Yoga. We've talked about it before. Goldust, I mean, man, look at where he was at weight-wise a few years ago. Look where he's at now. He credits turning his life around to DDPY and DDP Yoga. So the DDP Yoga Now app has everything, including over 150 workouts, including live DDPY workouts from the DDP Yoga Performance Center. And it's got great cooking shows that will teach you how to make healthy food taste amazing. Also got motivational messages from Diamond Dallas Page himself. And right now you can get the app and the DVDs for 20% off. Take advantage of the summer sale on the DDP Yoga program by going to ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc and using the promo code SUMMER17 at checkout. That's ddpyoga.com/wrestlinginc and use the promo code SUMMER17. That's SUMMER17. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. Back to SmackDown last night. Interesting segment with AJ Styles, Shane McMahon, and Kevin Owens. So the setup here is that AJ wanted to apologize for accidentally kicking Shane in the face, since Shane is going to be refereeing the match at SummerSlam. And basically we had this apology last night. Kevin Owens comes out, tries to kiss a little ass, and then ends up accidentally kicking Shane in the face. How the tables have turned. What a wacky wrestling promotion. What do you think this is telegraphing, Chris, about what we're going to see on Sunday?
I think it ends up with Shane versus Owens in Hell in a Cell at that one. So, but this is what I like about this program. It's not been flashy. The storytelling has been very simple, but I like that none of the 3 guys can trust each other at all.
Yeah.
And Shane kind of has disdain for both guys right now, so he could pull a fast one on somebody, and they've teased the whole referee screw job again with this whole angle. But I like the simple storytelling and the whole trust issues with all 3 of them, rather than one leaning to the other side, which makes it a lot more obvious to me sometimes. It makes me feel like it's a little more up in the air with this one.
What are you predicting, Michael?
Listen, last night, Shane McMahon had a great line when he said, "You don't put your hand on a McMahon without paying a price." That was old school Vince McMahon, Austin era, Austin versus McMahon stuff. Here's what I see for SummerSlam. Shane McMahon's going to take a bump in the middle of the match. He's going to cost Kevin Owens the match. Shane McMahon's going to wobble around like Weekend at Bernie's type deal. And then AJ's winning, and I think Chris is correct at Hell in a Cell. We may see Shane jump off the top of the Hell in a Cell once again.
It could happen. So last night, the New Day versus the Usos. The Usos picking up a win. Now, Chris, what does that mean based on how Raj predicts things?
That would be New Day retains.
Which, this is the problem with putting the belts on the New Day, is the belts stay on the New Day forever. And it just becomes silly after a while, because anyone they face, you just don't think, they need to lose. They need to lose now and again to keep it credible, or else why even have these matches? Just have them come out and do comedy.
Right. And here's my thing about this match is, with the whole Freebird rule, they went ahead and announced which duo was going to be on SummerSlam. So they changed it up. They put Kofi in the match tonight. Kofi takes the pin. So does that really have any bearing on what happened Sunday? No. But it does get the Usos another win, and it makes them look like a potential challenger. But to me, just having Kofi eat the pin is just a placeholder, because he's not even going to be in the match on Sunday. So it was them giving it away without giving it away.
How good have the Usos been the past months?
Amazing.
I love the attitude. I love their aggression, the heel Usos. Man, I love everything that they're doing now on SmackDown. I love it.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, why keep them in this feud if they're just ultimately going to lose to the New Day each time? Put them with the Fashion Police again. I know, seriously.
Yeah, they were just there though, weren't they? I mean, for a short feud, but there's just such a tag team lack on all rosters, because now we're seeing Seth and Dean on Raw get together, because just the tag roster is so thin right now.
Yeah, there's really nobody else on SmackDown, because they split up American Alpha.
Yeah.
The Ascension makes their cameos on the Fashion Files. There's nobody there. Those are clearly the top two teams on SmackDown by far, with the Usos and New Day.
And backstage, the Hype Bros just weep and comfort one another.
They can stay there.
How is it, man, when the Ascension is on TV every week, but the Hype Bros can't get on TV?
Because the Ascension are comedic geniuses, apparently.
Well, that's true. That's true. So speaking of which, we got the Fashion Peaks. They just keep going back to the well on this. So they did the first Twin Peaks parody. Kyle MacLachlan was tweeting it out. He was getting tons of press coverage. They did it again last week, and they're like, you know what? Let's milk this one more time, and did it again last night. Some great jokes about them making it up as they go along. The Ascension got some nice comedic beats in there, but we did get a clue. And that's the number 2 in B.
Or not to be.
Or not to be. I'm seeing speculation online. There's like 2 Bs, well, the Bollywood Boys. Some people are saying Brooklyn. It could be Crime Time.
Oh.
Yeah, how are they going to pay this off? And how could they pay this off in a satisfying way? Michael, what do you think is the best outcome of this?
Well, I thought they were going to pay it off back at Battleground.
Yeah.
And then that's when Fandango got abducted and being probed, of course. The pay, I don't know. Unless the Killer Bees are coming back from the 80s, that's the only plus I see out of this thing. Other than that, I have no clue what their plan is. I don't see Crime Time coming back.
Yeah.
I don't know, bro. I have no idea.
JTG's probably still collecting a check somewhere.
Yes. I'll be watching, though.
Yeah. I'm surprised they're not doing a skit at SummerSlam, because if you think about it, it's great to put on when they're transitioning something.
Yep.
Maybe if they want to bring back the purple ropes for the Cruiserweight match at SummerSlam, what better thing to do than put the Fashion Files on during that when they have the big audience? But we'll see. We'll see where they go with this. But it's nice to know that they're teasing their return in 2 weeks. Interesting that it won't be even next week.
In 25 years, actually. Yes. In 2 weeks. So now, was that a clue to what show that they're going to next, maybe? 25 years thing? Who knows?
Oh, 25 years thing is a Twin Peaks clue. That's
the
see,
reason
that's
why
me
not. That's me not knowing Twin Peaks. Okay.
The reason why Twin Peaks came back now is because in the original series there was this weird dream sequence with this "I'll see you in 25 years" line. That's the entire reason why it came back, storyline wise.
Okay, but that graphic, because Fashion Files will return, and then people popped, and then it said in 25 years, and then they're like boo, and then in 2 weeks, and like oh yay. I mean, it was a beautiful stringing of emotions with us and the live crowd, I thought, with that last graphic.
My vote for the next show is 21 Jump Street.
Yeah,
I want to see them.
Yes.
Already. Go undercover, perhaps, as wrestlers. We'll see. So the main event last night, Jinder Mahal versus John Cena. You know, they made it work, man. I think this could have been maybe not a SummerSlam match, but this could have been a solid main event at a B pay-per-view, at a SmackDown pay-per-view. I thought it was good last night. Michael, what'd you think of the match?
I thought the match was good. I was a little upset that the WWE champion didn't even get a full entrance on TV.
Well, he got that opening segment.
He did. Yeah. You're right. You're a good call. I think that Jinder kicking out of the AA does more for him than him winning the match or walking out with the belt last night. I think that helped him out more than anything else.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah. And he never got pinned because we went for the Super AA, which I thought was a nice touch. So Cena obviously making this guy look strong because he has to go for the Super AA to get the job done. And then he still couldn't because, that's when Corbin popped in. But as far as Cena Mahal matches go, I thought this was really solid. And Vince was having some sort of Fantasyland dream in the back when they started with a test of strength and two big guys, like an elongated test of strength to start a main event match. I'm like, what year is this?
I was watching.
It was a nice change up though.
I was watching last night with my wife, and she is not a big wrestling fan. She handles it just because we live together, basically. And they started out in the test of strength, and I said, Callie, I love this. Is old school wrestling. This is my kind of stuff. She said, Michael, what are they doing? I said, basically, they're playing Mercy is what they're doing. They're playing a 1980s game of Mercy is what they're doing.
Oh, man. It's good when they start a match basically with a rest spot.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very old school. So last night, at the end of the match, Baron Corbin comes down, knocking people with the briefcase. Is he going to cash in? Oh, he's not going to cash in. He's walking back. And then, you know what? To hell with it. I'm cashing in. Runs in, restarts the match. Interesting how it took a little while. The ref was making sure Jinder was good to go. And then it looked like Corbin was going to be the champ, but Cena distracts him, and bam, Corbin eats the pin from Jinder. So I've seen some speculation online, people talking about, were somebody's feet under the ropes when this happened, trying to speculate that there could be a way to redo this, but it very well could be exactly what we saw, that this just further builds the heat on Corbin and Cena, giving Corbin more of a motive now to go over Cena Sunday at SummerSlam. So, Chris, what did you think of this cash-in?
Okay. Couple layered thoughts here. We can spend a couple of minutes on this, guys. I think Corbin was made to look like a complete doofus.
Yes.
And that does him no favors as a character, but it does get him riled up and ticked off for that match on Sunday with Cena. So again, I get what they're doing. As far as the segment in and of itself, as far as it being laid out, I loved it because Corbin was leaving and we're all wondering, hey, bud, the champ's down. What the heck are you doing? And then he looks at the briefcase and like, they swerved us a little bit. Then he cashes in. But then since he hesitated, I'm like, he's not going to get it. Since he hesitated, I'm like, there's something's going to happen. Cena's going to pop back up. So I kind of saw what was coming a little bit. Not exactly how it happened. I wasn't seeing a roll up. But the outcome did not do any favors, like I said, for Corbin. Cena has been involved in every unsuccessful cash-in that there has ever been.
Yeah.
Ironically enough. But Mahal gets the old schoolboy roll-up, 1, 2, 3, and they almost kind of botched that because Corbin's shoulder was up at 3.1. And I don't know if that was by design or if they slipped or whatever the case was, but once I saw Corbin hesitate, I'm like, he's not getting it. But the segment was nicely laid out. It gave us a roller coaster of emotion, but as a character, it just did no favors whatsoever.
Yeah. What do you think, Michael? Was this a satisfying cash-in for you?
I'm here to keep kayfabe alive, and I got a gripe with Mike Chioda. And here's my problem, Mike, is this. During the match, during the Cena Mahal match, you threw out the Singh brothers for their interference in the middle of the match, right? You told them to leave ringside. Now, when the cash-in started, the other match, the Cena Mahal match, had ended, disqualification. The cash-in started. John Cena jumps up onto the ring apron and takes a punch from Baron Corbin. Then he gets rolled up by Mahal. Corbin gets rolled up by Mahal. Here's my problem. Mike Chioda should have never had counted that three count, because of Cena's interference on the apron. If he's going to kick the Singh brothers out, he shouldn't count that because of Cena's interference on the apron.
Yeah.
But other than that, listen, it was a sloppy roll up. They had to do something.
Interesting point, though. I mean, and I never really thought of that way, but a lot of people too were complaining that Chioda should have never let Mahal get up. But there's only been a couple of instances in a cash-in to where the bell is rang while the champ was down. I think Daniel Bryan and Big Show, and then I think Orton over Daniel Bryan with Triple H as referee, which you can see as a heel Triple H referee, he's going to allow that. And then was Daniel Bryan heel or face when he got Big Show? I can't remember. But those are special circumstances when the other, dozen times that a Money in the Bank has been cashed in, it's happened where the referee allows the champion to get his bearings, and then the match restarts with both guys in a decent state. So people that were saying, oh, they just should have rang the bell, they should have no chance for Cena to get in the match. Even though Cena wasn't necessarily an instigator, which is why I maybe slightly disagree with the whole Singh brothers thing, because they were caught red-handed essentially. And Cena was just there, and Corbin, I think, was more worried about Cena rather than Cena actually doing the interfering. He was just trying to get all of his roadblocks out of the way. And that was to his own detriment, which again makes him look like an idiot.
But here's where the gap in logic in kayfabe is. Cena is facing Baron Corbin Sunday at SummerSlam.
You're going to make my next point, aren't you?
Yes. Shouldn't Cena want Baron Corbin to win the belt so Cena can take it off him on Sunday?
Absolutely. Gosh, man. Because, I mean, obviously they're not going to do another Cena title with Ric Flair in the hospital. They're not going to give him the 17th title there.
Actually, that might have something to do with a change of plans in the outcome of that match last night. I mean, now that I think about it, it could have gone the other way where Corbin could have, because what better thing to do as a go-home moment going into SummerSlam than have a brand new champ? That would have built huge momentum. But yeah, with Flair in the hospital, they're not. No. Cena's not breaking that record.
And I would have had a big old told you so from last week when I called it. And y'all were telling me, oh, no chance. Corbin's not going to cash in before SummerSlam. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I had
the same night. Your theory was going to happen during SummerSlam.
But I said the Corbin Cena match would be for the title in some form. Now, I already had it typed out, told you so, before he got pinned. I'm like, dang it. And then that happened.
I think for SummerSlam, though, with this failed cash-in, it kind of amps up the Cena-Corbin feud. It kind of gives Corbin something to be upset about that Cena cost him his cash-in. It makes it a little more personal. And if the WWE would have given John Cena his 17th World Championship while my main man, Ric Flair, is laid up in the hospital here in Charlotte, North Carolina, I would have burned this state down.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, it was an interesting decision, but I think Corbin has to win at SummerSlam now, and I hope it's in semi-short fashion, like maybe even Lesnar killing Cena at SummerSlam a few years ago. Like, it has to be where Corbin is just like insanely ticked, and this adds another dimension to his character.
I have a feeling that Cena's transition to Raw is going to play heavily into both post SummerSlam shows next week, which is why we're not seeing the Fashion Police yet. Maybe Cena shows up on Raw Monday, has some sort of rematch with Corbin Tuesday night with the stipulation that he's off SmackDown if he loses. And that's the centerpiece of next Tuesday's show, to get Cena back onto Raw, if that indeed is still the plan.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways you could go with that. So yeah, nice little insight there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the match. So that being said, man, let's talk about the SummerSlam card.
Well, let's do it. You want to just do the SmackDown side tonight, since we went a little more over the
talked about Raw
on Monday.
So for everyone, this Sunday night, immediately after SummerSlam, myself, Matt Morgan, Raj Giri, we're going to be on here dissecting what happened. Hopefully it will be a satisfactory SummerSlam.
It's going to be a long one. I do know that.
Yeah, hey, guys, you got to watch live on YouTube on Sunday, or at least check out the video, because if you've never seen how Raj Giri looks at the end of SummerSlam weekend and WrestleMania weekend, if you think you know what a tired, broken man looks like, you need to see Raj at the very end of SummerSlam week.
In his defense, he's coming back from a vacation, so he should be okay.
He should be rested, but he's got Takeover, all the stuff with the Ric Flair's happening. Look what's happening SummerSlam week. I don't know if you've seen what they're doing. So, and I actually love this, by the way, compared to previous years, it looks like they're not doing access this year at SummerSlam, or are they? Because I saw
I've not heard a ton about it as far as advertising and that kind of thing. Looks like the guys and the girls are more or less just doing media tours up in the Northeast more so than the access.
All over New York, all over the boroughs. I mean, it's actually a really cool idea. I mean, I love WrestleMania. I love Access. I love that it's all in one. It's like Comic-Con for wrestling. But I love that when I looked at this appearance schedule, that they're having superstars do appearances all over New York and really creating this feel that SummerSlam and the WWE, it's a full week-long event. And I think that that's absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And it was announced that they're coming back to the Barclays again next year for a 4th year in a row.
I'm sorry for you West Coasters, Glenn.
Yeah, although I see, but it's weird though, because you think about it as a vacation, man. I mean, it's like WrestleMania. If you have WrestleMania in the right city, WrestleMania is an awesome vacation. And I'm telling you, New York is fantastic as is. I mean, Brooklyn is amazing. So Brooklyn in August, that's like the deal breaker for me. Is that's like, if there's any time I do not want to go to a place that's all concrete and very little wind. Yeah, August, not the best time.
No. All right, so SummerSlam on the SmackDown side. First match on the lower end of the card, Rusev versus Randy Orton. We kind of touched on this earlier. Give me Randy Orton in pretty elementary fashion. Probably not going to be a great match. I hope Chad Gable maybe makes a save of some sort if needed, or makes some sort of an appearance just to sort of get his steam back against Rusev for the attack. But Randy Orton, pretty clean probably is the outcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree. Do you guys think Randy Orton has had a rough 2017? Like, I just don't think anything he's done this year stood out above the rest. I like Randy Orton. He's been really good for a long time. But his feud with Bray, I wasn't really into any of that stuff. When he was champion, I wasn't a big fan. And then him losing 3 straight to Jinder. I think he's had a rough 2017.
He's had a rough 5 years, in my opinion. Like, he's just been bland to me. Like, he's really made little to no effort besides the Wyatt stuff with the whole burning down the compound and whatnot. He's really made little to no effort to add to his character. He's just sort of paint by numbers, and heel Randy and face Randy is more or less the same guy wrestling. Right. And just he changes his mannerisms ever so slightly. That's about it.
There's just something about him that if it were anyone else, right? So let's say Sami Zayn had the year that Randy Orton had, you'd be like, oh my God, poor Sami Zayn. He's out there trying to make the best of it. There's something about Randy where it's just like, Randy just seems like he doesn't care. Randy's like, yeah, right. Okay, I'll do whatever. I'll show up. You want me to do this? Okay, fine. He's just
as long as the check goes through.
Yeah. He just has this attitude about him that he's going through the motions.
If Sami Zayn would have had the year Randy Orton had, he would be back under a mask at some gym, jumping off a top rope, giving an elbow onto a concrete floor. You wouldn't see him on TV.
It could have happened. I could very well in an alternate universe see a main event feud where it was just Jinder Mahal just burying Sami Zayn week after week, you know, pay-per-view after pay-per-view.
All right, let's see. Next matchup, John Cena versus Baron Corbin. We just talked a little bit about that. Give me Baron Corbin, hopefully in convincing fashion. But like you said, Glenn, if they want to give him the win back to send Cena to Raw on Tuesday, they might have John Cena get the win in a big match.
It's really a question, Eddie. This kind of covers, you know, the New Day versus the Usos also. Who are they booking this for in trying to create the SummerSlam moments? Is SummerSlam more of a smart event, or is it more of a mainstream event? Because if it's about the internet wrestling community and the hardcore fans, you give Corbin the win and you build that up. But if you're trying to please the kids and the people that are casuals that barely pay attention to the programming, John Cena at SummerSlam, man. I mean, he'll go on the Today Show the next day. You know, it's feel good times for everyone. Same thing with the New Day. I mean, that turns it into a moment. If the Usos win, that's not a moment. That's something's cool for a lot of us, but it's not going to get the mainstream attention.
Keep in mind, John Cena has a 6-year SummerSlam losing streak.
True.
He has not won since he beat Nexus 6 years ago. So I see John Cena winning. There's no chance Baron Corbin's walking out of here victorious. It's the Cena curse, man. He's coming back. He's breaking the 6-year losing streak. John Cena walks out of Brooklyn with a W. And
Glenn, I know you and I have talked about self-aware John Cena lately. Same thing last night. The young lady was so sweet to flip him off on the camera shot. And then he absolutely owned her on Twitter today, which I thought was fantastic. So self-aware Cena makes another appearance. And I guess we can talk about this match, guys, since it was just made official on 205 Live last night. The Cruiserweight Championship was officially announced for the kickoff show. Akira Tozawa, your new champion, versus Neville, who was a little disheveled last night. Little disheveled Neville, you might say.
Looking disheveled on the Neville level?
Yes. He was knocked down a couple levels.
Yeah. I think it would be weird to hot potato it right back to Neville, wouldn't it?
Yes, but if you want to sort of make this whole new disheveled guy your next psychotic character heel champion, I don't put it past them, because they waste the title change on a weekly show just to put it back on Neville on a bigger show, which I don't put that past them whatsoever. Would I love to see Tozawa retain in a nice little 10-minute match? Yes, that's what I would want to see, but I would not put it past them to put Neville over once again.
It would be odd for them to hot potato the title, and that is exactly why I believe they will do it. I agree with Chris, man. I could see Neville walking out with the belt for him to lose on Monday and then come back to win on Sunday.
I'm just glad they're on the. I mean, they might be on the pre-show. I'm glad they're on the pay-per-view. I thought with giving that match away Monday that this was gonna make all the predictions come true about the Cruiserweights being off Raw around SummerSlam, because not having something on the pay-per-view would be deadly for them. But I think, regardless of the outcome, I'm just glad they got a match on the card.
Absolutely. Tag team titles. New Day versus the Usos. New Day are your current champions. New Day, to me, retains, and I hope Kofi, who took the pin on Tuesday, is somehow maybe involved, and New Day retains via some precarious means, just to give them a little, we'll do whatever it takes to, kind of like the Usos do. So I kind of hope that happens, but I see New Day retaining either way.
I'm pulling for the Usos. However, I don't see New Day losing. I think, Glenn, like you said earlier, the problem with them being the champion is that they're always the champion. There's no chase. There's no get back at you. There's no got to get it back. These jokers win the belt and they hold it for 100, 200, 300, 400 days. So I see New Day continuing to be the SmackDown champions.
Yeah.
All right, Glenn, did you have a prediction there? Do we want to move on?
It's New Day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, U.S. Championship. AJ Styles, your current champion, versus Kevin Owens with Shane McMahon as your special guest referee. What do y'all see happen?
I'd like it to be Kevin Owens again, but on the condition that that Face of America crap is over. Like, and I think that, you know, he dropped that, so let's just hope that stays dead.
I kind of liked it, honestly, where he walked around his face and like just the little things. I'm a sucker for subtleties, and just the little subtleties that he did with that character I thought were cool. But no, I kind of agree that Kevin Owens needed to drop that to just sort of get back to the badass type of Kevin Owens that we saw before. But AJ Styles, to me, keeps the title, and we see a little Kevin Owens, Shane McMahon action at the next SmackDown pay-per-view.
See, I think AJ needs to graduate up to the main event picture on this. That's why I think Owens needs the belt, and we need because we need a mid-card title again. We need to give guys like Sammy. We need to give you know, Ty Dillinger. We need to have some more mid-card action going on. So it's they need to flesh that out a bit better, and I think that's the best way to do it. Get the belt back on KO.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is the final chapter of this feud, even though I thought it was a good one from start to finish. Jern, what do you think?
Boys, I will never, ever, ever in my life pick or predict a Canadian to win the United States Championship. Give me AJ all day long.
All right, good stuff, good stuff. All right, so SmackDown Women's title, Naomi, your champion, versus challenger Natalya, and the always looming Carmella.
Natalya then Carmella, man. I think same night. Make it happen.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that that's the best plan, but I see it happening. Carmella's had the briefcase for several months now. She teased a couple times. Ellsworth will play a role in this deal, but I can see Carmella walking out of Brooklyn with the belt.
Yeah.
I'm changing my opinion just to be devil's advocate. It would make little to no sense to have Carmella cash in on a heel in Natalya. So for her to cash in on Naomi, I think it's a decent competitive match. Naomi gets the win and then immediately loses to Carmella.
The problem with Naomi is good in the ring. She's got a lot of flash. She's got an amazing entrance. She's incredibly likable. But as champ, she hasn't done anything. I mean, it hasn't raised her game. I think, again, she's always been super likable on the mic. People, you know, the "you deserve a chance." I mean, she was in the company. The championship run has been good, but she doesn't really have a character. She doesn't really have that gravitas, as it were. And
WWE does that to all their champions, though. Excuse me. Once they win, they pretty much forget about them, and then they lose to their eventual challengers. To me, whenever you crown somebody, a lot of times they don't follow up. They think them winning the championship is the pinnacle. And to me, they should keep building that character or building some dominance if that's the way you want to book them. Even though she hasn't really defended the title very often, she hasn't been given a lot of chances to grow as a character either. So,
but I felt like ever since they brought Charlotte over to SmackDown, having Naomi as the champ just seemed ridiculous. When that, like, every time Charlotte comes on camera, the way the announcers talk about it, it's like there's a glow. It's like just, you know, the angel light comes down.
Did you really make a glow reference to Charlotte and not Naomi?
No, but it's like that. It's like that's practically what's happening every time Charlotte is on screen on SmackDown, and the way they talk about her is that it just doesn't make sense in kayfabe that Naomi's the champ when Charlotte is the one they treat, you know, so athletic, so gifted. You know, I talk about everything she did on Raw. It just doesn't make sense to have anyone but her be the champ. So I think that if she's going to stay on SmackDown, this whole thing with Carmella is an elaborate way just to get the belt on Charlotte this fall. And
that's completely fine. And then she'll probably hold on to it until Mania if they decide to do that. And as a babyface, I guess, unless she turns on somebody like a Becky, because you know there's going to be a Becky Charlotte program somewhere for that title. But all right, so WWE Championship time, which is, I think, May, with the entrances being kind of elaborate with these guys, may kick off the show. Jinder Mahal versus Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think Mahal retains.
Wow. I'd love for it to be Shinsuke, but I don't know if they're ready to pull the trigger on that yet.
I don't think they're comfortable with him yet. He's still working his way into the WWE style. I think Cena's match, and I think, was it the week before or 2 weeks before, he had a good match. Can't remember who it was with, but he's finally coming out of his shell a little bit. He's not really phoning it in. He's not softballing his kicks and his strikes. The last few weeks, he's sort of come into his own, the style that we saw in NXT, which is still a style that was watered down compared to what we saw from him in Japan. So this is watered down Shinsuke Nakamura, but it would be a neat moment to start off the pay-per-view, but I don't think they're ready to pull the trigger yet either.
I think the match you're talking about a couple of weeks ago was against Baron Corbin after the disqualification at Battleground. Yes, when
that's right.
He kneed that Joker in the face several times. Listen, boys, the gender experiment has to stop. Jinder is in a better place now than he was a year ago. Lord knows he's in a better place now than he was with 3MB. Jinder's in a better place. The championship has helped him out. However, it's time for that to stop. It is Shinsuke Nakamura's time in the WWE on SmackDown. Here's my long-term hope. He wins the championship this Sunday at SummerSlam. Somehow AJ wins the Rumble or gets into a program with Shinsuke, and that's your main event at WrestleMania 2018. That's my prayer to the good Lord in heaven. That's my prayer to Vince McMahon. Vince, make this happen. Do the right thing. Shinsuke leads Brooklyn with the gold around his waist.
I think that's going to further solidify with Cena going to Raw. I mean, basically SmackDown's going to become NXT Plus. You know, it'll be, I mean, for us, for the internet wrestling community, SmackDown will be awesome. Yeah, I'm good with that too. But within the WWE, I think it's just going to really be a disparity. I mean, they're already, you know, SmackDown's going to get less pay-per-views. I don't know. I think that it's taking things down a notch if that's the route they go. Because at least with the Jinder, like you were saying earlier, it's very 80s, it's very old school. But the problem with that is they can only put him against Orton or Cena to do those type of feuds. Yeah. Because we don't have the big American babyface. I mean, AJ in theory could be, but he's not going to be the draw that Randy or Cena would be.
Very true. And since Michael wasn't here on Monday, I just want to get his thoughts on the Big Hoss Battle main event of SummerSlam, the Fatal 4-Way on the Raw side for the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar, your current champion, versus Roman Reigns, Samoa Joe, and Braun Strowman. What do you think, Jern?
I would love to see Joe leave with the belt. I don't think it's happening. I'm afraid the WWE has kind of tipped their hand with the comment by Heyman that if Brock loses, he's leaving the WWE. I think they were trying to play it off the MMA John Jones thing, but I think Brock's winning, man. I think it's all a big ruse to make us think that Brock's not winning, that somebody else is going to get pinned. You know, Reigns is going to pin Joe, or Strowman's going to pin Reigns or somebody. But I think Brock's leaving with the belt. But it should be a good match. I expect this thing to be a knockdown, drag out. I wish somebody would bleed. I want to see somebody with a chain, some brass knuckles, something. I need something to kind of beat this thing up.
So the big question is, with all these title matches, who is on the Today Show on Monday? I'm thinking the New Day, and if Sasha wins, I'm thinking they send the New Day and Sasha, because they don't have anyone else that, not that they're liking faces, but they don't have anyone else that people will know who they are, you know, enough to go on the Today Show and rep the company.
That's true. And a lot of times WWE hates to do a lot of title changes on a big pay-per-view. Yeah. And I don't know why that is, but it seems like on WrestleManias or SummerSlams, there's just not a lot of title changes on the bigger ones, especially they seem to go very heel heavy on pay-per-views, big pay-per-views as well, just to get that heat for the next night, for the week following on free TV, to boost those ratings. So why, again, that sort of defeats their own purpose. Why would you have a bunch of heels win if you need some representation on the morning shows and on the ESPN? But it'd be interesting to see who they throw out there next week on the media circuits.
Yeah.
I would go with Lana, boys. Put Lana on TV as much as you can.
Just drop the Russian accent already, for God's sake.
I don't mind it. I kind of like it.
Is she coming back for Pitch Perfect 3? I know she was in the first.
Wait, is there a 3?
There's going to be a 3.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I didn't see the first. Didn't see the first two.
No, me either.
Oh man, I go to a lot of movies. And come on, it's about an acapella group. Acapella groups battling each other. It's great. Good time. Actually, I didn't even realize Lana was in it until I was looking at her IMDb page. And I was like, Lana was in Pitch Perfect? And I was like, oh, Lana had like a real career. Why'd she start wrestling?
That's a fair point, but she's not doing so bad for herself, I guess.
No, absolutely.
I just filled out my to-do list for the rest of the day, boys. Watch Pitch Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. What was the one she was in? Was she in the one with Edge or the one with Ziggler? One of the WWE movies. But it was like, it was her in a room. Like they shot all of her scenes on the same day, and it's her sitting in a room at a computer, like on the phone. You know?
Don't remember, but it's definitely one of the two, because I remember seeing something of that nature, but don't recall exactly which one it was.
Yeah. The Edge one had an absolutely crazy ending, and I recommend it for that reason alone. So let's talk about NXT TakeOver Saturday night on the WWE Network.
Absolutely. Final viewing party tonight at 8 p.m. if you guys want to hang out with me. But the card, I mean, again, it's my gig to follow this every week. This is the first takeover that I'm not ridiculously excited about, because you have a very WWE style main event for the NXT title. The tag team championship really does nothing for me. The women's championship should be awesome. And then the undercard, I think, is going to be better than the main events. But all right, so from bottom to top here, Johnny Gargano says, you know, Brooklyn's where they got their big shot, and he wanted to be on the card again in Brooklyn. So he's taking on Andrade Cien Almas. Almas tends to lose on every single takeover, and Gargano, as a returning babyface, has to win here, in my opinion.
I could see it.
I would like to see Gargano win. However, I think it's going to be a little bit of a chase here, where Almas wins this one, and then in 3 weeks on NXT TV, Gargano gets a big win.
Yeah, I mean, because Almas has the former Thea Trinidad, which I think is now what, Zelina Vega, I believe is her NXT name. So she's sort of got him refocused. So we might see an Almas win to get a little heat on him, and like you said, further it into the weekly NXTs from here on out. Next one, and Jern, you can attest to this because we went to the same live event, Aleister Black versus Hideo Itami. This should be a hard-hitting barn burner if they let it be, because Black is an absolute enigma of a superstar. Like, this guy just feels different when he's coming down to the ring, when he's doing his work in the ring, when you're at a live event. And Itami, at the event we were at, had a really good comedy type match against the Velveteen Dream, Patrick Clark. So this should be a really good match. What do you guys think?
Black.
Such analysis from Glenn Rubenstein.
I see Aleister Black winning. However, I don't want to see Hideo Itami. I want to see Kenta from Japan, right? I want to see this Joker come in and just kick somebody's teeth down their throat. I want to see knee after knee after knee. One of these boys, their thighs are going to be beat red by them slapping their legs or all these knee shots they're going to get. Aleister Black's undefeated. He's not losing this one. This is his second taking over card, second or third?
Oh, second, I believe.
I think so, yeah.
Because he debuted at the last one, I believe. There was a second match. Yeah. So Itami has sort of this whole losing streak gimmick going anyway. So I think that continues for him. Give me Aleister Black. And NXT Tag Team Championship, the Authors of Pain, your current champions with Paul Ellering versus Sanity. But I'm not sure the combination of Sanity that we will get, because Eric Young's been off television for a little bit, came back last week. So you've got, Killian Dane, Alexander Wolf, and Eric Young as the possibilities there with the Freebird rule.
I think maybe they keep it on the Authors of Pain unless they're getting promoted.
That would be the only thing I can think of. Sanity, not exactly a babyface faction.
No.
So it's a heel versus a heel matchup, which is kind of interesting. But I think the people are going to get behind Sanity in this match just on name recognition alone with Eric Young, and maybe even with your European fans, Killian Dane. Not so much Alexander Wolf because he's kind of more of a WWE homegrown project. But I still think Authors of Pain retain here.
Let me take the other side of the road, boys, just so we can have a disagreement here. Give me sanity. You got Eric Young coming back. He's been off TV for a couple weeks. He's coming back in town. Authors of Pain have had the belts for several months now. I don't have any reason other than there's 3 against 2. Paul Ellery counts as a half. Give me 3 against 2.5, and give me sanity.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. Authors of Pain, I think the danger of Authors of Pain retain is that they start getting into that Asuka territory where they become unstoppable. And then who is the heir apparent? Who's going to take them down? You know, who's the babyface tag team?
The Metro Brothers from NXT. I don't know if you watched that last week.
No.
Like, oh, God. It was a little jobber tag team that they brought in to face the Street Profits, another new babyface tag team, which really I think have unlimited potential. Those guys are entertaining as heck. But anyways, moving on to the NXT Women's title, Asuka versus Ember Moon. Is this the day that Asuka gets defeated?
If she's coming up. But if she's coming up, the problem is, oh man, I just think it's going to go so poorly if the Asuka goes to Raw or SmackDown. I mean, but then again, what do they do? I mean, it's really killed the momentum. Think about how we used to talk about the NXT women's division. And look how it is now. I mean, I think that's the problem. You can't have an unbeatable opponent at the top of the heap. You know, it's just it limits your booking possibilities. So I don't know. Maybe Ember Moon gets the win.
Okay, so Ember Moon has faced Asuka before for the championship, but Ember really, I don't think, was ready at that point as a character. Still a little rusty on the microphone, a little unsure of herself on that end of the spectrum, but her in-ring work speaks for itself, right? So this would make more sense now to have her beat Asuka, but I don't think they have anybody behind Ember Moon as this big potential babyface to beat Asuka. I think maybe Asuka holds on to it until the winner of the Mae Young Classic gets to her, and maybe that's a Kairi Sane from Japan with the big elbow drop. So I think Japanese star versus Japanese star, big baby face versus this super heel and Asuka could be a great matchup. So I still think Ember comes up slightly short here.
Chris, my man, you took the words out of my mouth. Asuka has to win. They can call her up. She can be the NXT champion and be on SmackDown or Raw. We've seen Kevin Owens do the same thing a few years ago. Let her hold on to that belt and face the winner of the Mae Young Classic. I'm hoping it's Kairi Sane as well, because I've seen her work in Japan and she's in Lucha Underground for a quick moment. I'm hoping we got 2 Japanese women. I don't know who I'd pull for. I'd be pulling for Charlotte, but she's not there, so I don't know who I'd want to win. But Asuka's got to win this, because if she loses this belt, you can get a return match at the next takeover, and then after that you have Ember Moon and who's left at NXT for the women. On the
babyface side, not much. Right? I think that's part of the issue. But man, this is a toughie. But everything that I've heard in the past is Asuka's not going to be a main roster talent. She's going to be an NXT lifer to keep that division relevant and be the face of that division. So if they find another Asuka in this Mae Young Classic, then those plans may change. But I don't think there's any plans for her to go to the main roster anytime soon.
I think that's, I'm not going to say a bad move, but I would love to see Asuka and Charlotte at a WrestleMania, at a SummerSlam, at a big match field, have these 2 top-notch female athlete wrestlers going head-to-head.
All righty. So last but not least, your WWE-style NXT main event for the NXT Championship, Bobby Roode versus Drew McIntyre. Is it time to take the old strap off of Bobby Roode? Is this still Bobby Roode's NXT? What do you guys think?
Hasn't been that long that Roode's been the champion.
It feels like forever. And this is why. And Michael and I talked about this briefly before you hopped on, Glenn. Is Roode is, I'm not going to say past his time, but his character worked amazingly 20 years ago because he's this old school heel. He works a slower rate, WWE style, and he's fine for what he does, but he's just not the NXT crowd's cup of tea when it comes to, I think, what they want their champion to be. But I think that's part of the aura of having him as the champion that gets him heat because he doesn't exactly do what they want him to do. Whereas Drew McIntyre, reintroduced back to the company a couple of months ago, has been undefeated since his return to NXT. I don't know if they hot shot the title on him yet. I think maybe Rude gets another win and they have McIntyre chase for a little bit.
For all the reasons that you say Rude may be looking to drop the title, that's all the reasons that I love that Joker. I love the 1980s heel. I love this is my title. This is my show. I love all that. I love the robe. I love his entrance. I love the way he works, the old school feel to him. I love it all. However, I don't think that Drew McIntyre is his time yet. Before he got into this feud, he was a little cold. He wasn't doing a whole lot on NXT TV. So I say keep it on Rude for at least another couple of months. I don't know when the next Takeover show is. If it's November at Survivor Series, then do something then. But Rude keeps the title here Saturday night.
Yeah. I mean, have they been building McIntyre weekly on NXT? I mean, from the stuff I've seen, it's been more the matches. But have they built him really with a story?
Not really. I mean, it's kind of like a redemption type of story because they've played off him being the chosen one on his first run in WWE. And now, this is like his second chance that he's going to do it his way, that he's working hard now. He took everything for granted before. So that they've given him somewhat of a character, but really it's not a character that fits him because, he's 6'5", 250 pounds. He towers over everybody on the NXT roster for the most part, but yet they're painting him as this sort of sympathetic babyface so far. So the crowd's not really getting behind him like I thought that they would initially. I was hoping maybe they bring him back as this vicious heel that just comes up and kills everybody. But I mean, he still works that style in the ring, don't get me wrong, but as a character, that's not where they're going with him right now.
Remember, this is a company that has John Cena come out, flash his never give up towel, and then look into the camera with a straight face and say, never give up. I tell myself that every day.
Oh, man.
USA, baby. USA.
Yep. All right, guys. So NXT, we will have full coverage on the website and on Twitter beginning at, I think, 7 p.m. Eastern on Saturday night. And I'm looking maybe doing a post show. We'll see. I have to obviously get approval from Raj on that, but I'd love to do a post takeover show on Saturday. But we'll see if that happens. We'll keep you guys up to date on that.
Yeah, so, but Sunday night, the return of Matt Morgan, the return of Raj Giri.
Top to bottom, the A+ players. You don't see my sorry face on this video for at least another week.
We'll miss you, Chris.
I know. I love you guys. Sorry.
So until then, folks, Michael, where can people find your stuff on the interwebs? Listen, you can look me up on Twitter at @the_M_Jernigan on Twitter. And also I have a sports podcast called Taking Over with Jern Jam. I have a co-host. His name's Jam. We have your top 4 sports stories of the week every week. This past week, we did a SummerSlam preview, much like we did here today. So look us up on Facebook at Taking Over Sports on Facebook. Join our group. There's all sorts of trash talking going on in this group, sports-wise. So look us up, Taking Over Sports on Facebook.
Nice, man. Chris, Knockdown_radio.
Absolutely. And sometimes, you don't see it on the bottom third today. I went with everybody else. Didn't have my little scripted name on the bottom. But, yeah, Knockdown_radio. Again, hang out with me tonight for NXT. And also on the Wrestling Inc. Twitter all weekend long for all of your SummerSlam activities from beginning to end.
Before we go, just quickly, because people are asking in the chat a lot of times, do we think after the Mae Young Classic, the women's division is going to get deeper, either on the rosters, the main rosters, or NXT? I sure hope so. I know I floated this idea a week or two ago, saying I would love to see them do a women's only pay-per-view and just really flesh out the roster. I think it's interesting that what was on the WWE fan feedback council, somebody leaked the questions, and they were asking a lot of questions about Glow on Netflix, if they watched it, if they liked it. Mm-hmm. I think that, with this women's evolution bit that they've been pushing so much, I think they need to put their money where their mouth is and really start devoting more storytelling time to that division and fleshing it out beyond, just who's arguing over the belt or these godforsaken 6 women matches they've been doing on SmackDown.
Yeah, for sure. And really, if you think about it, if they sign, like officially sign, maybe 4, 5, 6 women out of this 32 woman field, I think that would be a good number for them to send them to the PC, put a couple on NXT fairly weekly, the more popular ones from the tournament. And I think that's just the best case scenario for them because, again, it adds depth. It also sends a couple of their WWE projects back a couple steps. But you can skip the line if you're a little better.
Yeah, absolutely. So until next time, folks, I'm Glenn Rubenstein, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast. Take care.